Welcome to the Seller Roundtable e-commerce coaching and business strategies with Andy Arnott and Amy Wees.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Andy Arnott and
Amy Wees.
And this is a Seller Roundtable Extra. And today we are going to talk to you guys about lots of different tips and tactics and things that you can do today in order to weather the storm, the COVID-19 storm that we're also affected by, pretty much the entire world. So we are going to try to give you some strategies, some tips, some things that you can do today to help mitigate those things. And Amy, I'm going to hand it off to you.
Wow. Okay. Well, I know that all of us are affected in different ways, and no matter what, it is affecting us both. Some of us positively in terms of sales, and others of us just our sales have come to kind of a screeching halt. But I know it's affecting us mentally and physically. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was merchant fulfillment. So, a lot of people in the last kind of 48 hours, what has happened is Amazon, first we were restricted in sending in certain categories. So that affected a lot of people. Amazon sent out an email and said, hey, you're restricted to send in certain categories if you're not in grocery or pet or anything like that. And then the second thing that happened in the last 48 to 72 hours is some of us whose products were active on Amazon have noticed that the ship date to customers isn't until 21 April. And so, what customer is going to want to kind of wait that long, especially when they're at home, stuck on lockdown? They're wanting to shop and kind of get that instant get something on time to them. So this is really affecting people and their sales. So even if a customer buys it and you get that revenue put in, you're definitely at risk for that customer to cancel that purchase. So what can you do? That's what I would love to talk to you guys about. I've been merchant fulfilling on Amazon since I got started. I know Andy also merchant fulfills some of his stuff. The reason I merchant fulfill is one of my products is quite large, and my Amazon fees are just not in a profitable area compared to if I merchant fulfill it. So what is merchant fulfillment? That is when you basically are listing your products on Amazon.com, but you are fulfilling them yourself. So when somebody buys it on Amazon.com, you'll get an email from Amazon that says, hey, you sold this, go ahead and ship it out. And then you can go into Seller Central dashboard and you can check your orders and you can purchase shipping right then and there. If all of your inventory is at Amazon right now, that is difficult, right? You might be able to do a removal order and remove some of it. There's a list of third-party prep centers. I just wrote a blog post on this. You can either go to rebatejet.com/blog or amazingathome.com/blog and check out the latest blog post. It's a step-by-step guide on how to merchant fulfill. So what I would suggest is if all of your inventory is at Amazon and you cannot weather the storm, right? You cannot wait for and seriously affecting your sales, perhaps do a removal order and pull 50 to 100 units back and put them in a fulfillment center or in a warehouse or in your garage and go ahead and merchant fulfill them. We use UPS e-fulfillment, and then we also fulfill out of the house, and we'll kind of talk a little bit more about that throughout this podcast. But we just want to encourage you guys to know that there are things selling like crazy right now, and people are online shopping more than ever before. So if you have the opportunity to pivot, we want to give you the tools today to be able to do that. Right, Andy?
Yeah, absolutely. Merchant fulfilled is something that, that's how I started. I started merchant fulfilling even before I started doing FBA. And we always merchant fulfill. We ship, usually it's just once a week. And some people have warehouses, some people have, get creative there. But definitely something that you want to do now rather than just have your inventory sit. If, like Amy mentioned, if you can get a removal order, definitely something that you guys want to look into. But really, what you want to be doing now is diversifying. If you can't sell on Amazon, you should be seeing if you can sell on Walmart or eBay or Etsy or your own Shopify store, WooCommerce, ClickFunnels, Facebook Marketplace, LetGo, Mercari, and something that we haven't rolled out yet, but we are going to in the next week or two, which is super exciting for us, is RebateJet. You are actually going to be able to sell direct to customers on RebateJet. You'll be able to import a huge list of products. You can export from Amazon, then import to RebateJet, or you can export from your Shopify. Wherever you're selling, you'll be able to import into RebateJet and then sell direct to customers, and the fees and things that you're going to pay are going to be a lot less than on places like Amazon. So that's super exciting for us. We are, in the works right now. We've got it pretty much set up, but we're kind of testing it, making sure it works well. And then we'll be rolling that out to you guys. So we're super excited about that. But this is an absolute great chance to diversify. This is where you want to start testing other marketplaces, especially if you're not busy on Amazon, right? Rather than sitting idle and being like, oh my God, I'm screwed, things like that. Like, put that energy into trying to figure out where you can actually push your products. Some of these creative ones like Facebook Marketplace, I know that Amy's done this and we've done this too. Like, we've had overstock items before that we've gotten returned to us, and we just start listing them on Marketplace, and we end up getting, similar, amounts of money than selling on Amazon, because there's zero fees, right? The person just shows up and you hand off the product and they hand you cash. So it's an absolute great way to sell inventory. Something else we want to talk about, which is super important, is PPC. I've been getting a lot of people, reaching out and asking about like what they should be doing with their PPC, right? So the main thing that I'm hearing right now is people are just turning off their campaigns, and I want to tell you absolutely not to do that. Once you've got, if you're affected by the FBA delay, you might want to try to get that merchant fulfilled listing up, like Amy will guide you through on the blog post. But once you get that merchant fulfilled listing up, excuse me, you want to definitely, make sure that those ads are turned back on, because everybody else are turning off their ads right now. And so that the cost per click is actually coming down pretty significantly on Amazon. What's weird is I even had some old products and some old campaigns that I haven't touched in forever that are starting to show impressions now, because before I might have been priced out of that, that keyword or that campaign. And now those are coming back online again, just out of nowhere, because those costs have come so far down. So what you want to do is, here's just kind of an overview of what you want to do in terms of your PPC. You want to kill any keywords that aren't converting right now, right? So look at, the past, say, about 14 days. If you want to go even further out, you can go 30 days and kill any of the keywords that are leeching money. So there's two strategies there. One is you can completely turn them off. I always hate doing that. But what I suggest doing is reducing the bids way down, 5-6 cents. I think 5 cents is the minimum you can go on Amazon, maybe go a penny over that, and, let it ride and see if maybe you'll start getting some, some continued sales out of those keywords. But if they've leached for, I'd say, more than 30 days, then it might be worth killing them even at that lower price point. The next thing you want to do is reduce your target ACoS. So, say if like as business as usual, you run a target ACoS of say 30%. Right now, you really want to maximize your profits, right? And a lot of times people are having trouble not only, selling, getting their FBA product delivered from Amazon, but actually getting product to Amazon, right? Like, because of the issues in China and things like that, you might not even be able to get more stock. So right now, you really want to squeeze as much profit out of your current inventory that you can. So you want to make sure that you reduce your target ACoS. The benefit with that as well is because the costs across the board are coming down, you should hopefully be able to hit those target ACoSs fairly easily, because those costs are coming down across the board. So definitely reduce your target ACoS. The next thing you might want to do is actually raise your bids on winning keywords. So if you go back through for 14 or even out to 30 days, and you see that there's specific product targets or keywords that are continuously winning. In other words, you're beating your target ACoS and you're making a significant amount of sales on those. You actually might want to increase those bids. a few different tactics you can do there. Is one is just increase the bid. The other is to increase the percentage of top placement. So in Amazon, I forget exactly what it's called, but there's kind of a setting that says, bid X percent to get to the top listing. That's something you might want to look at during this time, because if those winners are winning and continuously winning, why not maximize and get as much traffic and sales off of those keywords or product targets as you can. So those are brief, but those are kind of some really quick tactics that you can do right now in order to continue to get sales from your Amazon PPC without, having astronomical ACoS.
Andy, do you recommend that they also really lower their budget then? Because, for example, let's say all of my products are on that 21 April ship date. So maybe I'm not going to turn off my PPC because I still might get a few FBA sales, but should I at least lower my budget daily so that I'm not just burning through clicks?
Yeah, it depends on your inventory level and, and if the keyword's performing or not. If it's not performing, then, or the campaign overall is not performing, then that's definitely something you want to look at. But if you open up a campaign and there's even one or two keywords that are performing, I would say just filter out the stuff that's not performing, with the built-in filter on the marketing dashboard, and reduce the bids on all the stuff that's not performing. That way it shouldn't even spend any budget, unless unless you're getting really cheap clicks, which then might end up getting you some profit. But it all comes down to stock levels, right? If you have a bunch of stock, then you don't have to worry about budget. You want to just continue to juice as much profit and sales out of those products as you can. Now, if you're getting low at Amazon FBA, or if you're merchant fulfilling and you're getting low, then you really want to minimize your ad spend, because if you're going to run out, you might as well, like I said, maximize your profits there. Now, if you get 0 organic sales a day, if you're getting a lot of sales from PPC and you turn that off, then that problem goes away, right? Because now you're not selling anything. So you need to really find that kind of that happy medium where you're still driving some paid traffic to the listing, but you're not spending so much that you're going to stock yourself out.
Got it. Makes sense. Good
Yep.
tips.
So yeah, something else I want to talk about, and it's kind of funny because I've seen, I see kind of two sides to this, right? Like there's a lot of bad press about sellers going out and especially like retail arbitrage and stuff and buying up all the hand sanitizer and stuff like that. Now, on one hand, I definitely think that when you're buying out a community like that, it may not necessarily be a positive thing, especially if you're jacking up the prices. But on the flip side to that, if you went out and bought those hand sanitizers and maybe made $1 or $2 off of each one, but you're putting that stock on Amazon for people around the country who really need it to get a hold of it, then that's different. So to me, it's it's looking for right now. You want to see how you can maybe come up with new product ideas that might help your community, but where you're helping rather than hurting, right? If you're buying up all the hand sanitizer and trying to sell it for $80 a pop, to me, you're hurting your community, right? You're hurting the overall cause. But if you, like today, I saw somebody in, I think it was like the Netherlands, put out a sewing plans for like an open source mask. Now, what if you took that plan and went to your local seamstress who's now doors closed, they're working from home, you give them a call, you say, hey, like I want to make 1,000 of these, can you bring your equipment home, work from home, can you get these made for me? And then you go and you still make a little bit of profit on that. You need to live too, you need to feed your family. So to me, there's nothing wrong with capitalizing and helping people at the same time.
Andy, did you know Joann Fabrics? It's a big craft store here in the US. They are actually delivering, you can go and pick up ready to sew masks. They've already cut out the patterns and everything for you. And you can sew them then, or like you said, hire a seamstress to do it and get them out there.
Yeah, and to me that's win-win, because now you're supporting your own family. You're not having to go into debt, things like that, and you're supporting that seamstress, and you're able to get these masks out. I mean, if you look at places in New York, they can't even get masks. So these might not be N95 masks, but a lot of the stuff that I've read said that like having something over their face, the healthcare workers and things, is better than nothing at all. So I mean, that's where I'm saying try to get creative in coming up with new products. See if you can source stuff locally. Another thing that's that you can do is is consult your local small business. If you've got a local business, like here in Sebastopol, we have like a honey shop, right? They probably, I don't know if they're considered food or not, but their doors might be shuttered, just as an example. You could go to them and say, hey, do you want to list this stuff on Amazon, and I will fulfill it for you, and we'll split the profit. Or you can pay me to help you get that, as a consulting fee, to help you get your products onto Amazon, and I can show you how to do everything. In other words, get really creative, guys. If you are off of work right now and you need to bring in some income, those are just a few things that you can think about in terms of getting creative, and not only getting products out there to support your family, but also helping on the the general cause there.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's, of course, groceries right now are really flying off the shelf. So if you have a source for any type of grocery products, I mean, I have clients that have like chocolates that are selling like crazy. Just people aren't able to get anything right now. And then also there's, a lot of just people trying to get whatever they can get their hands on in terms of, snacks and things like that, because the shelves are empty. So if you can get your hands on some of those products and kind of look in, if you already know sources that other people are not necessarily shopping at, or you have a wholesale source, what a great way to make a little bit of extra money at this time.
Yeah, absolutely. And on that same note, there's always creative ways to come up with products, right? I mean, you can go out to your local community and just brainstorm and think about what people need right now and create bundles, or, come up with new ideas. It's honestly a lot easier than you think. And, I was listening to, on a call with one of my masterminds today, and one of the themes was like, you can't feel guilty in like during these times in making money. Now, you can, if you're gouging people, if you're being ridiculous, then you can feel guilty, and shame on you for doing that. But if you're making enough money to help support your family and at the same time, provide a service, to me, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So guys, go out there and do what you can if you need to, support your family. On that same note, some other things that I've noticed in the last week is there's huge opportunities in paid marketing and influencers right now, because so many people are, when people go into this panic mode, it's like they hit the kill button on all these expenses, right? And that's not necessarily the smartest thing to do right now if you are making a profit. So if you can, spend $1 in ads and make $2, then there's no way in hell you should be turning those ads off right now. You should also, for example, like I just talked about, those masks that you could sew on your own, or find somebody to do that for you. If you were to put those, on Amazon or one of these other marketplaces, and then pay for Google ads to drive traffic to those products, you're going to pay pennies on the dollar right now, because nobody's doing it. There's so many people who have fled from advertising that there's actually huge opportunity there. So just really think about that.
On that same token, Andy, you mentioned just kind of also using your skills. So all of us have skills of online business, and how many of these local businesses could have their business online. I have an example. There's a lady in my neighborhood. Her mother-in-law actually got coronavirus, and she was in Europe and came back and got coronavirus. And so they're on lockdown right now, but she's still paying her employees. She has a sewing business where she teaches people how to sew. And she is still paying her employees and struggling, but they aren't offering any classes. Well, guess what? I already know how to offer a class online, and I could teach her how to do that. How many local businesses are struggling right now, whether you're a music teacher or a tutor? How many of those just don't have the skills right now to get online? So you could help them through consulting and help them get online and give back and offer, your skills and your services. And as Andy mentioned, it's going to be very, very cheap to advertise that service and get it out there to people who need it most right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, something else I want to transition to. I just told you not to cut your advertising, right? But something that you do want to do is pull up the last 30 days of your, bank account, credit card, whatever you're doing right now to run your business, and really go through it with a fine-tooth comb and cut things that aren't essential, right? that aren't, you're not either, because I know, Amy, you've done this too, and I do this, is I'll sign up for some service and I'll be like, yeah, I'm going to use that, in a couple of weeks or whatever. And then you don't get to it, and it just sits there, and you're paying for it every month when you're not even using it. So go through and cut anything that isn't essential. But on that same token, if something that you're spending money on is making you money, once again, you got to look at the return on investment. If you're spending $100 a month on it, but it makes you 300 or it saves you $300, then that's a no-brainer, right? You would definitely want to keep that around. But if it's something that's kind of on the fringe that you're not really using right now, then it's definitely something that you want to really look at. For example, like we cut, we used to have, satellite, then we had Comcast TV, then we had Sling TV, and we actually just cut that out too, because we really just don't watch TV very often. When we do, it's usually like Netflix or something like that, or YouTube. We're watching a lot of YouTube these days. There's a lot of free things out there that you can do to entertain yourselves. And honestly, you should be taking the time, rather than watching TV and movies. You should be trying to better yourself. So think about cutting those services that you don't need currently. And I know that this might not be a popular thing, but to me, I have a much easier time cutting a service that's a major corporation than I do with cutting a service that's like a small provider, right? When I know that I'm supporting a small business, like, to me, it's much harder to cut that. But I have no problem cutting Comcast or Dish Network or any of those. They'll be fine. They'll weather this storm, no problem. So to me, that's something to definitely look at, is to go through and cut expenses, be as frugal as you can right now. But at the same token, look for the opportunities there. Another thing you can do is go to your service provider or whoever that you're paying for, and call them. And if it's something that you do value, but you're kind of on the you're like, I don't know, maybe I'll keep it, maybe I won't, is call them and say, hey, can you give me 50% off for 3 months? People are always willing to deal, especially in these kinds of times. So see if you can get a deal.
Yeah, I know Cindy Thompson, the author of Profit First for Ecom Sellers, she has a really great newsletter, and I shared it with the Seller Roundtable Facebook page about the cut, keep, reduce strategy. So what you can do is go through your QuickBooks and or your bank statements. And how many of us need to do this anyway, right? And this is a really good reason to do it right now. But we should be doing this anyway on a regular basis. Go through your bank statements or your QuickBooks and look at it line by line and say, okay, do I need to keep that? Do I need to reduce it, where I'm going to call, that company and say, hey, do you have a better deal for me? Or can I go to a lower plan? Or do I want to completely cut it out? And so just put a K next to the ones you want to keep, an R and a C next to the ones you want to reduce or cut, and just take the time to get on the phone and get that stuff done. And that's really going to help you, first of all, understand where you're spending your money, which a lot of us we get comfortable, we get busy with our businesses, and we don't realize, where we're spending our money and where things are going. This is a great time to just take a good look at that and get on the phone and talk to these companies. At the same time, right now, the Small Business Association has disaster loans. So you just go to sba.gov and you can apply for a loan there. There's definitely a lot of providers that are working with you. I have a friend who messaged me the other day and said, I called my car payment provider and they were willing to defer payments for a couple of months, my mortgage provider, that kind of thing. All of the companies right now are working with people. So don't be afraid to just reach out and make some calls, go on their website, see what they have going on, and just look at your monthly expenses and reduce that stress that you have going on right now. As Andy says, don't cut those things that are providing you with a service that's making you money, but take a look at those other things that, like, man, I haven't used that in 3, 4, or 5 months, or I'm really paying way too much for that for how much I'm getting in return, and I want to reduce that. And then, the next thing is, a lot of people are they're stuck in their house. And I posted about this and I said, hey, what's your biggest struggle right now? And so many people are struggling with being motivated. because we're stuck in our houses, and it's hard, if we have big goals, but we don't really see an end in sight to this coronavirus situation right now, you might not be as motivated to work on your goals because they're not as seemingly attainable right now. So if you're finding yourself lacking motivation, a tip that I have for you is to make shorter term goals for now, right? Because there's so much going on right now. What I would do is think about, okay, by the end of April, what do I want to get done? What do I want to learn? Is there a new skill I want to learn? Is there something that I want to get done in my business? And actually put that on a timeline so that you're kind of focused on shorter term goals, and that'll help you be more motivated to work on them. Even one goal a week that you can easily achieve will help you kind of stay focused and motivated right now. Also with your inventory and your products, use this extra time off. If you still have a day job and you're stuck at home, use this extra time to really scale your e-commerce business. Go through your inventory and look at the things that are selling really well this year, that things that you might want to grow. You might want to add more products to that line. Maybe there's products that aren't selling so well or didn't sell so well this year, and you're thinking, oh man, you can come up with some strategies to sell out of those and move on. Look at your inventory the same way that you look at your expenses, and look for opportunities to grow it. If you have a seasonal product that has been affected by, this coronavirus, think of the things that you can do to get in front of those eyeballs again. So for example, all of these events have been canceled. Maybe you have a travel product or an event-based product. Well, guess what? They're going to be rescheduled. People are going to travel again. So what can you do now to strategize to get in front of those eyeballs when people do start traveling again? How can you make your business the one that they see and the one that they buy from when they're ready to start moving and start living again after this? And then really study your niche and look for opportunities and plan for the future. I know right now, again, that's hard to do, but definitely know that we are going to get through this, and things are going to return to normal, and people are going to travel again, and they are going to buy things again, and they're going to live life again. And how can your company be the one that your brand be the one that they go to for their products and services? Think about that now and really start planning for that time. And then finally, don't forget about training, right? All of us, as I mentioned, have a short-term goal of something that you've always wanted to learn. What better time to learn it? There are so many podcasts, books, YouTube, and paid training that's out there. I know Nathan Hirsch, he just launched his outsource school, learning how to hire and train VAs. And there's tons of free and reduced courses right now. Our Inspire Summit, we just opened it up for free. It's over 20 hours of training on business planning and strategy and growth and marketing and everything else. All you have to do is go to facebook.com/groups/Inspire Summit and send a join request. You get in for free right now. So, get in there and get that training and take a minute to really plan in your business. And then, we're doing a listing optimization masterclass next week. So that's pretty awesome. Stay tuned for that. I mean, right now is a great time to fix your listings, right? So we're going to come up with a masterclass next week and teach you everything we know about optimizing listings so that you can fix your listings and get them on the right pages, get that right visibility, and get your products moving again. And then, I have a bunch of courses coming out for Amazing at Home. So we're going to be doing some really cool things coming up here. So definitely just stay tuned for that. Get on our subscriber list if you're not already there. And stay tuned to the podcast, because we've got a lot of great training. You can go back through our podcasts. I mean, we've had incredible guests on this show that have taught incredible things. So now's a great time to binge on the podcast and get a lot of those old episodes out.
Thanks for tuning in to part 1 of this episode. Join us every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for live Q&A and bonus content after the recording at sellerroundtable.com. Sponsored by the ultimate software tool for Amazon sales and growth, sellerseo.com and amazingathome.com.